First at 9 this Saturday, the 17th of August, 2024. Cloudburst. Torrential rains wreak havoc island-wide. Inclement weather to further intensify tomorrow. The rupee dilemma. Presidential candidates propose maximum per vote expenditure between a range of 50 cents to 1,000 rupees. Decision of the Election Commission to be gazetted soon. The battle begins. Presidential candidates hold their maiden presidential rallies as the presidential polls draw closer. Tourism uptick. Sri Lanka expects over 1 million tourists within the last 5 months of 2024, notes the Tourism Promotion Bureau chairman. A mobile app promoting Sri Lanka tourism to be launched in September.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is Ada Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Ada Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Singh joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now taking you straight to your top story this evening, with the low atmospheric disturbance around Sri Lanka prompting severe downpours around the island, the Department of Irrigation warned residents in Bulat Sinhala, Palindanura and Maduravilla divisional secretariats of possible floods as the water levels of some rivers continue to remain on the rise. Meanwhile, the Meteorological Department expects the persisting inclement weather patterns to further intensify tomorrow. Considering reports issued by the Met Department, the National Building Research Organization issued landslide warnings to 6 districts.
Heavy downpours wreaked havoc since last evening due to the low-level atmospheric disturbance in the vicinity of the country. This also led to the inundation of several roads in Colombo last night. Accordingly, the maximum rainfall of 233 millimeters during the past 24 hours was reported from Ahaliyagoda in the Ratnapura district. The low-lying areas of Kulupana and Valikala in Horana Divisional Secretariat remain submerged today owing to the torrential rains which occurred in the Kalutura district. Traffic congestion in the area was observed this morning as the Horana Pokunuita Valikala road remained flooded. Similarly, extreme weather patterns also led to the widespread flooding on many streets in Kalutura, Matugama and Palawata, affecting the daily lives of the general public. Meanwhile, the Department of Irrigation stated that the water level of the river Kalu is on the rise as a result of the significant rainfall which persisted during the last 24 hours. The Irrigation Department requested the residents of the low-lying areas to remain vigilant of possible floods as heavy rains prompted the opening of 2 sluice gates of the Kukule River. Additionally, the department also warned about the possibility of floods occurring in the low-lying areas of Kuda River and Maguru River valleys situated in Bulat Sinhala, Maduravilla and Palindanura Divisional Secretariat divisions in the next 48 hours. As heavy rains continue to persist today, the trees located along the Dr. Vijayawardena Mawatha in Colombo, which pose a potential threat to the people, have been removed today. Meanwhile, issuing a red alert warning for heavy rains valid for the next 12 hours, the Natural Hazards Early Warning Centre of the Meteorological Department forecasts heavy rains for the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Gaul, Matara, Kandy and Nuwara districts. Accordingly, heavy rains above 150 millimeters are anticipated to occur tomorrow. Taking the prevailing inclement weather patterns into account, the National Building Research Organization issued landslide warnings to 6 districts. Accordingly, landslide warnings were issued to the Colombo, Gaul, Kalutara, Kegaul, Mautara and Ratnapura districts.
Horizon Campus 2024 Intake 2. Register now.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Now, as the 2024 presidential election draws closer, President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted that the only team capable of saving Sri Lanka is with him and went on to invite the people of Sri Lanka to cast their votes before his symbol, the gas cylinder. Addressing his maiden presidential rally, which was held in Anuradhapura today, President Wickremesinghe went on to say that those who are unable to provide solutions to pressing economic concerns must not contest the presidential election. Meanwhile, former parliamentarian of the United National Party, P. Harrison, highlighted that the only leader with the skill set, experience and knowledge required to govern the country at the moment is President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The maiden rally supporting President Ranil Wickremesinghe's candidacy in the upcoming presidential election was held this evening at the Salgandu ground in Anuradhapura.
We do not want to experiment with leaders again. Undoubtedly, the only leader with the skill set, experience and knowledge to govern the country at the moment is Ranil Wickremesinghe. If we fail to elect him, Sri Lanka will be marred by queues again. People will have to wait in queues for weeks to buy a petrol litre at extremely steep prices of 2,000 to 3,000 rupees.
We must express our gratitude to this leader who saved our country from the depths of the crisis. Like many other parties, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and its supporters are ready to make Ranil Wickremesinghe victorious in the upcoming election.
The former president called the opposition leader. The opposition leader summoned both the central bank governor and the treasury secretary. They were asked to explain the situation to him. The discussion lasted for 3 hours. His economists told him not to even consider the proposal. At Ranil Wickremesinghe's first media briefing subsequent to his swearing in as the Prime Minister, he said he would resurrect the country even though the future looked bleak. Didn't he do that? He is the person who is contesting the election this year. We cannot experiment again.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe graced the rally at around 4 in the evening.
The future of this country is safe. I challenge Anura Kumara and Sajid Premadasa, who talk about politics on the election stage, to present their proposals which they expect to include in the budget next year at the next election rally. All of them lack a proper program.
පැනලා ගියද්දි බැහැ කියලා මෙතන ඉන්න එකතු වෙලා පුළුවන් කියලා රට බේරුවේ අය.
When other leaders avoided taking responsibility, the team that is seated here came forward to save the country. Do not forget that time period. We did not have electricity, fuel or gas. We lived in the dark. There were only cylinders and those ended up exploding. All of us, including the Prime Minister and I, took up our offices under those circumstances. There was no one else. The opposition leader ran away while Anura went missing. Where were Sajid Premadasa and Anura Disanayake when the people suffered? If they empathized with the people's suffering, they could have secured power and resolved those problems. Today they are talking about the grievances of the people. Where was Sajid when a gas cylinder was priced at 6,800 rupees? Where was Anura Kumara when a gas cylinder was priced at 4,900 rupees? They have to provide answers for these questions. If they can't answer, they must not contest. What they can do instead is to sit on this stage. The price of a gas cylinder has come down by 1,220 rupees to 3,680 rupees. The price of a cylinder of laugh gas has been reduced by 2,170 rupees to 3,680 rupees. Are you not amazed by my decision to contest under the symbol of the gas cylinder? There is no other symbol that suits me better. I was just reminded that fertilizer was purchased at 40,000 rupees. No, actually that's not the truth. The truth is there was no fertilizer. 18 countries and the IMF supported us. Both Anura Kumara and Sajid said they are going to amend that agreement. Are you planning to let the litro gas cylinder hike up to 4,000 rupees? My second question to Anura and Sajid is how they are going to solve that issue. When the prices started to increase, they will escape and hide themselves again. They are incapable. The only team that can save the country is with me. Please hand over your future to us. Cast your vote before the gas cylinder.
ඔබේ අනාගතය අපිට බාර දෙන්න සිලින්ඩරයට ඡන්දෙ දෙන්න. ස්තුතියි.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Now, leader of the opposition, Sajid Premadasa, assures to modernize the education sector of the country to meet the skills demanded by the global labour market. Addressing a rally today, the opposition leader highlighted that under an SJB-led government, the Matra district will reap the benefits of an unprecedented, significant development program.
The third public rally in support of the presidential candidate of the Samagi Jana Sandhanaya, the political alliance led by the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, was held today in Akurassa in the Madra district. The rally was attended by parliamentarians representing the Samagi Jana Sandhanaya this evening.
4 different forces destroyed this country. The first was the LTT, the JVP was second, the Rajapaksa family came in next, and finally Ranil Wickremesinghe, who supported the Rajapaksas. Everyone else in that list other than the leader of the LTT is contesting in the presidential election this year. We dropped Ranil Wickremesinghe to naught during the last election. We also inspired a golden era by establishing the Samagi Jana Balawegaya.
In 2010, Ranil Wickremesinghe did not accept any challenge that existed. He escaped and endorsed Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca for the presidential election. What happened in 2015? He nominated Maithripala Sirisena for the presidency and fled the scene. He failed to accept the challenge in 2019 as well. Instead, he nominated Sajith Premadasa for the presidential election that year. Ranil Wickremesinghe stood out as the most suitable candidate for the Rajapaksha family to hold the office of the president and the prime minister. Therefore, be prepared to vote for Sajith Premadasa on the 21st of September. Let's elect a president of the common man.
Ranil Wickremesinghe is holding his maiden rally today in Anuradhapura. The issue is that although he says Puluwan Sri Lanka, he cannot develop the country. MP Velukumar joined President Ranil Wickremesinghe recently. Following the granting of his support, Velukumar was granted 3 bar permits in Digana, Jaffna and Anuradhapura. He sold those permits for 50 million rupees. MP Prasanna Ranatunga's bar permit was granted under the name of an excise department officer. Dilu Mamunugama has a total of 2 bar permits in Hataraliyadda and Galagedara. These parliamentarians would do anything for money. I will reveal the names of all parliamentarians who were granted bar permits.
The opposition leader subsequently arrived at the public rally in Mathura.
When all parliamentarians tried to escape in the aftermath of the people's struggle, Sajith Premadasa invited me to take on the offer made to him and accept the responsibility of governing the country on behalf of the opposition. Why did he do that? That is because he understood the country's reality, which the SLPP leaders at the time failed to understand. We assure you that we will send Ranil Wickremesinghe home on the 22nd of September.
Science, technology, English, engineering, maths, medicine, law.
We will develop the education sector of the country to meet the global demand. We will prioritize the IT-centered education system of the country. We will also provide opportunities for the youth to engage in free training programs to further their knowledge in modern technological advancements. We will establish a massive development program based on public views and opinions to develop the Mathura district. I assure you that this program will be an unprecedented, significant development project.
Now, the maiden rally of the NPP's presidential candidate and leader Anukumara Dissanayake was held in Tangol today. The NPP leader stated that the prices of essential goods such as fuel, gas, medicine and student stationery will be lowered after he is elected as the country's top executive in September this year.
The maiden rally of the presidential candidate and leader of the National People's Power, Anukumara Dissanayake, was held in Tangol this afternoon.
Under corrupt leadership, women felt insecure. What we hear and see in the news and newspapers show us how unsafe society is for women. Based on the 3 major rallies that we held, there is no doubt that women in Tangol and the southern province are ready to elect a leader who will raise his voice on behalf of the country's women.
All of us know that our enemies are panicking at the moment. Rumors and misinformation are being spread everywhere. These statements are made by treasure hunters and those who misappropriated the Central Cultural Fund. We are competing with 2 groups that have caused massive damage to the country's civility. We have to create a program that enables us to halt corruption and fraud, sanction the fraudsters, and recover stolen assets. We should not seek revenge. We will impose the rule of law and clean up the Sri Lanka customs. We will ensure that the government intervenes efficiently. We will source the necessary resources from the global market. We have prepared plans to develop both the economy and education. We have completed a great deal of work to implement those plans. The NPP has a plan that can reduce our fuel and electricity costs. We have formed a plan that can provide quality medicine to the public at an affordable cost. Taxes are levied on stationery items for school children. A NPP government will remove the tax imposed on schools and educational equipment. Then questions were raised about how we were going to source those funds. That is possible. There are companies that evade tax payments. There are liquor corporations that have evaded the payment of 6 billion rupees in tax. We will simplify the taxes and create a program to collect them. By doing so, income will flow into the government, allowing the removal of taxes levied on essential items like food, medicine and education. For so long, all of you voted for leaders who ensured their survival while ruining the economy. For the first time in history, let's form a NPP government that makes the country and its people prosperous and happy.
අපි පළවෙනි වතාවට ආණ්ඩුවක් හදමු. රට පෝසත් වෙන ජනතාව සතුටින් ඉන්න ආණ්ඩුවක්. ජාතික ජනබලවේගය ආණ්ඩුවක්.
Star dishwasher දැලි තෙල් ඉඳුල් පහසුවෙන් සේදේ. Star dishwasher magic tub එක.
Welcome back. Now, the presidential candidate of the Sarva Jana Balaya Alliance and leader of the Maubima Janata Party, Dilip Jayavira, asserts that a unified nation will be created where all Sri Lankans can live together harmoniously. He made those remarks while speaking during the maiden rally of the Sarva Jana Balaya Alliance in Jaffna today.
The maiden rally of the Sarva Jana Balaya Alliance, pledging support to Dilip Jayavira, was held at the Rakha ground in Jaffna this evening.
දිලිත් ජයවීර මැතිතුමන්ගේ මෙරට අනාගත ජනාධිපතිතුමන්ගේ සම්ප්‍රාප්තියයි දැන් ඉතිහාසයේ ප්‍රථම වතාවට සිය මංගල රැළිය පවත්වන්නට යාපනය තෝරාගත් මෙරට එකම ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා
මෙවර ජනාධිපති වරණයට අපේක්ෂකව 38ක් ඉදිරිපත් වෙනකොට
Among the 38 candidates contesting the presidential election, Dilip Jayavira is standing out as the only unique candidate. When the previous candidates failed to fulfill their promises, all of you had nothing to do. However, if Dilip fails, all of you can file an action against him before the court and request the court to order him to deliver those promises he pledged. The only candidate which provides you that right is Dilip Jayavira.
ඒ අයිතිවාසිකම ඔබට ලබා දෙන එකම ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා තරුවෙන් මෙවර ජනාධිපති වරණයට ඉදිරිපත් වෙන දිලිත් ජයවීර මැතිතුමා.
අද මේ රැස්වීම අපේ මුළු රටට
This rally is an example to the entire nation, not only to the entire nation, but also to the Western nations and forces that try to sabotage us. Our message for them is that we are united in creating the country's political future.
දේශපාලනය නිර්මාණය කරන්නේ කියන එක.
උංගලකාන කච්චි இந்த කච්චි
This party is for you. Let's support our candidate Dilip Jayavira, who is contesting under the symbol of the star in the upcoming presidential election. A Tamil candidate from Jaffna is contesting the presidential election, but all of you do not know him. However, Dilip Jayavira is likely to win more votes than that independent candidate.
දිලිත් ජයවීර අවර්ගල් එඩපාර් අපි ඔබට ආයාචනා කරන්නේ මේ රටේ සිංහල කියලා මහජාතියක්වත් දෙමළ කියලා සුළු ජාතියක්වත් නැහැ.
What we affirm is that there is no majority called Sinhalese and no minority called Tamils. As Sri Lankans, we must trust in our shared identity and unite as one nation. Every time an election approaches, politicians from the north demand land, push the 13th Amendment forward and to try to divide us. All of them are lying. As a responsible citizen, I can tell you that those politicians who live luxurious lives in Colombo are deceiving you. As a Sarva Jana Balaya, we do not believe that Sri Lanka is a divided nation. We believe that we are brothers and sisters living in one nation.
අපි ඔක්කොටම එකට සහෝදරත්වයෙන් ඉන්න පුළුවන් ජාතිකත්වයක් මිසක් බෙදුණු ජාතිකත්වයක් නොවන බව අපි මේ යාපනයේදී මුළුමහා ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයින්ට පවසන්නට කැමැතියි.
Now let's take a look at some thoughts shared in the political arena as the election heat builds up.
හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න මම විශ්වාස කරන විදිහට ලක්ෂ 171කින් වළංගු ඡන්ද ප්‍රමාණය ලක්ෂ 140ක් විතර පාවිච්චි වේවි. රජබෙට අපි දන්නවා ලක්ෂ 27ක ඡන්ද පදනමක් තිබ්බා. ජවිපෙට තිබුණා 4,20,000ක ඡන්ද පදනම. ඒතර ඒවා ටික ටික වැඩි වේවි. පොහොට්ටුවට තිබුණා ලක්ෂ 69ට මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඒතර පොහොට්ටුව කියලා අද ඇත්තටම ඡන්ද පදනමක් නැහැ. ඒකේ ලක්ෂ 69 ලක්ෂ 50කට වැඩිය තිබුණේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ ඡන්ද පදනම. ඒක ඔබතුමාට ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා කියනවා. ඔව් මට විශ්වාසයක් තියෙනවා.
ගෑස් ටැංකිය දැකලා ඡන්දකොලේ දැකලා අනිත් පැත්තට කතරයක් ගහන්න පුළුවන් කෙනෙක් මේ රටේ ප්‍රවේශික වෙන්න බෑ. ගෑස් පොලිමේ දිග ඒකත් එක්ක බැඳිච්ච අනිත් දුෂ්කරතා අපේ රටේ මිනිස්සුන්ට අමතක වෙන්න බෑ. අපි දිනනවා කිසි සැකයක් නැහැ.
එතකොට එහෙනම් තීරණය කරන්න වෙනවා ටෙලිෆෝන් එකද ගෑස් සිලින්ඩරේද කියලා. ගෑස් සිලින්ඩරේ කාගේද? ගෑස් සිලින්ඩර් එකේ ඉන්නේ කවුද? කවුද කියලා අස්සම් කරනකොට මුල් පෙළිය හිටියේ. කවුරු සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස ගැන මොනවා කිව්වත් මම එකක් කියන්නම්. ඒ තමයි මම දන්නවා ඒ මිනිස්සයා ජනාධිපති වුණායින් පස්සේ වංචාවට හොරකමට දූෂණය නම් ඉඩ තියන්නේ නැහැ.
මට සමගියන් බලවේගයේ නායකයාගේ කල්ක්‍රියාව අනුව පක්ෂය ගැන ප්‍රමාණිකූලව මගේ කලකිරීමක් ඇති වුණා. නායකත්වයේ ගන්න බය වුණා. රටේ තියෙන අර්බුදය හමුවේ තාම නිවට බේගුළු ලෙස එයා හැංගුණා. ඒකයිද තමයි මම තීරණය කරේ මේ වගේ නායකයෙක්ගේ දෙවෙනියෙක් ඉඳලා වැඩක් නැහැ. මේ නායකයාට රට හදන්න බෑ. අද මම කියනවා සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස රටේ කරුමයක් තිබිලා හරි දිනුවොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් අවුරුද්දක් පැනලා යනවා. තමුන්නාසලා අද මම මේක කිව්වා කියලා රන්නපුරේ ලියලා තියාගන්න කොහේ හරි
The SLPP's presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa claims that he believes the public will accept his policies which are in the interest of the country's development. He made those remarks after attending religious ceremonies in Kandy today.
Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Namal Rajapaksa, along with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, visited the Temple of Sacred Tooth in Kandy today and invoked blessings. They also invoked blessings from chief prelates of Malbatu and Asgiri chapters. The SLPP presidential candidate also visited the Katukale Pillayar Kovil and Katukale Juma Masjid Mosque in Kandy to participate in religious ceremonies.
අභියෝගයක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අභියෝග මොන ඉලෙක්ෂන් එකේද අභියෝග නැත්තේ. හැබැයි ඉතින් මෙයා ජයග්‍රහණය කරයි.
ඔබතුමා ඒ දවස්වල එනකොට විශාල පිරිසක් වෝට්ටුව නියෝජනය කරන ඔබතුමාත් කීකියා දැන් අද ඒ කට්ටිය රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතාගේ දැහැත්සක් පුවත්වන්න කියලා තියෙනවා.
මට hina වෙන්න විතරයි තියෙන්නේ කට්ටිය ගැන.
අපව බාර ගන්නවා.
අපි ඉතින් යන්න පුළුවන් එන්න පුළුවන්. සැලුන් දොර තියෙන්නේ මගේ ගාව. එයාට ඕන වෙලාවක යන්න පුළුවන්. අපව ඕන වෙලාවක එන්නත් පුළුවන්.
දැන් එකනමුණ බී වෙද්දි දැවන්ත පිරිසක් හිටියා. ඔවුන්ගේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති වලට විරුද්ධව කියපු නායකයෙක් පිටිපස්සේ යනවා. මේක නෝතුමාගේ අදහස මොකක්ද?
එක් අයගේ දේශපාලන ක්‍රමවේදය. ඉතින් ඒ අයගේ දේශපාලන ප්‍රතිපත්ති කාලානුරූපව වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපිට අපි ගොඩනැගිච්ච දේශපාලන ප්‍රතිපත්ති වෙනස් කරන්න බෑ.
පක්ෂයේ තීන්දුව වලට පිටින් වෙන අපේක්ෂකයෙකුට වෙන ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයෙකුට සහයෝගය දක්වන මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ට විනය පියවර අරගෙන
මැතිවරණයෙන් පස්සේ දේශපාලන මණ්ඩලය රැස් වෙලා ඉදිරි පියවරවල් පිළිබඳව සාකච්ඡා කරන්න පුළුවන්.
අපේක්ෂක 39 දෙනා අතරේ බරපතල අභියෝගයක් දෙන 30 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. ඒක ඔබතුමාට අභියෝගයක් නැද්ද මේව ජය ගන්න පුළුවන්ද මේ අභියෝගය?
ඒක අභියෝගයක්ද නැද්ද කියන කාරණේ ජනතාව තීන්දුව කරන්න ඕනේ. අපි මේ රටේ හිතකර සහ රට ගොඩනැගිය හැකි ප්‍රතිපත්ති අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. ජනතාවේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති පිළිගනී කියලා අපිට විශ්වාසයක් තියෙනවා.
Now, as the provisions of the Regulation of Election Expenditure Act takes effect this year, the Commissioner General of Elections, Saman Sri Ratnayaka, reveals that so far written proposals pertaining to the maximum per vote expenditure have been tendered by several presidential candidates, ranging from 50 cents to 1,000 rupees. The Commissioner General further revealed that the decision regarding the matter will be declared to the public by way of a gazette notification in due time.
A meeting among members of the Election Commission, the candidates contesting the presidential election and their representatives was held this afternoon to determine the maximum per voter expenditure by each candidate. Determining the maximum sum of money which could be spent per voter by a candidate is a new rule that has come into effect pursuant to the provisions of the Regulation of Election Expenditure Act, which will be enforced for the first time since its enactment in January last year.
We requested the candidates to submit in writing the maximum per voter expenditure that they propose. Accordingly, proposals ranging from 50 cents to 1,000 rupees were submitted. Pursuant to the Act, the Election Commission must take a decision on the matter after considering the proposals tendered by the candidates. Accordingly, the Election Commission will convene and announce its decision regarding the matter through a gazette notification.
Gazette මගින් ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කිරීමට නියමිත වෙනවා.
Now in your business news, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, Chalaka Gajabahu, says they expect the arrival of over 1 million tourists during the last 5 months of this year in order to achieve the annual target of 2.3 million tourists for the year. He made those comments while addressing a media briefing held in Colombo today.
We have crossed the 1.2 million figure of tourism arrivals from 15th of August. We are pretty confident that the way we are going, by end of this month, we'll get close to 1.3 million because as of 14th of August, the arrivals for August itself is 93,000. So we will get close to 1.3 million, where our overall target is, as you know, from the beginning of the year was 2.3 million. So last 5 months, we are expecting another million plus to go forward. From the industry, what we hear from the numbers that we are looking at, the European season is coming up. October, November, December is going to be very heavy months. We hope that the country's situation will remain as is, because if you remember in 2022 when we took over, all the travel advisories was on a very high. It took some time for us to bring those down. And in terms of a campaign, what we did for the past 1.5 to 2 years was the Seeing is Believing campaign. We have brought down more than 200 influencers, bloggers and media personnel to Sri Lanka to show the country is back to normal from 2022. So that has actually worked in a very good way for the whole industry. And we did that with the private sector support as well in terms of the return. Because the thing is, in all the international media networks and the digital platforms, all what they showed was the negativity of the country. But then with empty petrol sheds or empty medicine queues or whatever, it was not news. Negative media sensationalism is marketable, but not positive media. That's why the influencer campaign had worked. If you look at in all travel indexes in the world, we are in the top 5, whether it's a Fortune, the Forbes, the Times of India, and a lot of other travel indexes. So that is all good news. So we hope to continue and carry forward this message.
The long-awaited digital and PR campaign for 5 main markets will commence second week of September, mainly UK, France, Germany, India and China. These are our main source markets. The PR campaign will run for 1 year. Digital campaign will run for a period of 6 months, where we will review and we will extend accordingly.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau chairman commented on the launch of the mobile application to promote Sri Lanka tourism.
The app is 100% funded by Asian Development Bank, and we are hoping to do the soft launch somewhere in October. I think it's completed up to about 80% level, so we have reviewed it. We have requested for some revisions on that, so the team that is working on it will get back to us.
With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Ada Derana First at 9. Stay in touch with us on www.adaderana.lk for more news around the clock. Thank you. Have a great night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit adaderana.lk.